people that are new to the channel and they don't understand. So AITX, you zoom out on the chart, what do you see? You see a stock that has, you know, it has its runs. It has its 50 to 300% runs, and you just have to buy and hold. That's all there is to it. Eyeless, same thing. You just have to hold and be patient. It'll have its runs. Sybil, unfortunately, we're not able to buy. So, but it does like to have its runs either way. Even down here, it likes to have its runs. So, and it had its runs back here. These stocks just have ERs that give us those kinds of returns as long as you're willing to buy and hold near the bottom and not chase tops, not chase when it runs, and have a strategy that makes sense and that has a stop loss more than anything. So that's the chart look. But if we look at the share structure for each of these, probably the biggest complaint is the one thing that shareholders absolutely hate is dilution. They hate dilution. They hate it. I always see comments. I always see comments like, "Oh my God, the share structure of AITX, it's garbage. It's garbage, but it still gave 50% return not too long ago, and all you had to do was buy the bottom." So, so in my opinion, I don't think share structure matters as long as we have bottomed out on the charts. They can dilute all they want as long as it still holds up that bottom, we're good. That's my thought process. But you still want to have a stop loss just in case something catastrophic happens like that with Sybil. Market cap 32. Is this updated recently? Yeah. Wow, this was updated a day ago. Yeah, market cap 32 million. Let's round it up 33 million. Eyeless market cap 18 million. Really? Oh well, market cap 23 million. So just on the market cap alone, wow, really? The AITX has a bigger market cap than these two? I'm surprised by that. Authorized shares, here's where people are gonna lose it. That's 10 billion authorized shares, and they already are gonna increase it by another 25%, if I recall. So 10 billion authorized shares. Eyeless, 3.5 billion authorized shares, and Sybil, 7 billion authorized shares. And you'll notice that a lot of these guys, they'll eventually max it out because they have to raise money, and that makes sense. They're not on the OTC to not raise money. Sybil shares outstanding. Let's look at the 5-year chart for each of these on Y charts. You'll notice Sybil has not had an update on Y charts since 2010. So unfortunately, we won't be able to look at the history of their dilution. But AITX and Eyeless, we can see here since 2019. Since 2019, and same thing for AITX. Since 2019, they've had a share increase. Yeah, an outstanding share increase from 0.037 million. We're talking about AITX here to nearly 10 billion. And every year, the shares increase about. Whoa, really? Wow. That is, yeah. Okay. Okay, so from 2020 to 2021, AITX increased their shares by around 2.4 billion. And then from 2021 to 2022, they increased it another 2 billion essentially. And then from 2022 to 2023, they increased it. Actually, that was a 1 billion increase. So they increased their outstanding shares increased 2 billion for a couple years, and then it came down to 1 billion. We'll see if this trend continues, right? That's a good thing. The reason we're looking at the 5-year chart is because, hey, over the long term, if we're seeing a pattern of, yes, okay, I get it, they're still diluting, but if over the long term they're diluting less as the years go by, that's a good trend if you ask me. Because maybe eventually it becomes, okay, we're not diluting anymore, we're gonna buy back. That's where we would expect it to head to, in my opinion. Okay, so 2 billion here, and then 2023 to 2024. Oh boy, 2023 to 2024, we had an increase from 5.37 billion to really, ouch. They ooh. Ooh. Yeah, they increased the outstanding shares by 3 billion from 2023 to 2024. They increased it to, yeah, by 3 billion. 3 billion. That's already way more than the past couple of years combined. So that's bad. That's not what I wanted to see. I have not looked at this information. It's not until right now that I'm making this video that I'm like, whoa, whoa, let's take a step back here. That's not what you want to see. Let's be real. That's not what you want to see. You don't want to see the the dilution increasing. You want to see it ideally decreasing over time. So 2 billion here, 2 billion here, a billion here, and then uh, that's that's a fat 3 billion right there. It's almost like they wanted to make up for the 1 billion they didn't dilute the other year. If you think about it. So on average, if we were to average this out, they kind of dilute like 2 billion a year, is what it comes down to. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like 2 billion a year is how much they dilute. I wouldn't be surprised if they know this. They probably know this, and maybe it's their goal to just dilute as little as possible. So they just go, hey, let's just dilute 2 billion a year, because that's kind of consistent. And they increased the authorized shares to 12.5 billion. Yeah, they increased the authorized shares to 12.5 billion. If they dilute another 2 billion going into 2020, from here to 2025, then it would make sense that they're kind of just slowly diluting us 2 billion at a time every year. That's interesting. This is interesting information. I'm gonna have to do some research on. This is a whole video in and of itself right here. Huh. Well, you guys do what you want with that information, but that is interesting. Since 2019, they've been increasing the the authorized shares have increased as well, but the outstanding shares, the dilution has been 2 billion on average about every year. 2 billion every year, with the biggest increase from 2023 to 2024. So I imagine from 2024 to 2025, we're probably going to see another 2 to 3 billion. That's what I would guess. But on average, it's about 2 billion, right? So let's hope it, like, really, let's hope that they keep it around under yeah, around 2 billion is okay. Like, that's fine. Let's hope it doesn't exponentially increase. 3 billion is pretty bad. If it goes to 4 billion and then 5 billion over the course of the years, that's not what we want to see. As both a long term trader and shareholder, I'm sure you don't want to see constant dilution. You do not want to see this go to 100 billion outstanding shares and 120 billion uh, what is it, authorized shares. That's not what you want to see. You eventually want to see a peak and then share buybacks at some point. So I get that they're growing right now, so we might see this. I could see this going to 20 billion at some point, which, like I said, that's not good. But it depends on how they do it. If they're just gonna go 2 billion at a time every year, it's not as bad as it seems, because it doesn't really affect the charts as much as you would think. This is actually very informational for me. Let me see. Let me pull up AITX here on the charts. So we know they, about every year since 2020, they've diluted 2 billion. So the share price, when did the share price bottom out here on the daily? Let's switch to the weekly. Should give me better information. Please remove the MACD. Thank you. Okay, so we bottomed out at 002 since mid-November. Since mid-November, we bottomed out. Okay, so you know what's interesting? It's going to be, and I said this at the beginning of the video. Dilution doesn't matter if the stock is bottomed out. Remember that. I said that right at the beginning of the video. If they're diluting about 2 billion a year on average, and the stock just doesn't budge lower than 0020, then then we're good. Let that sink in for a second. Think about that for a second. We just looked at the Y charts. We just looked at their history of dilution. And if they're diluting about 2 billion a year, well, even with the 3 billion, we bottomed out down here at 002 regardless of the dilution. So what I'm interested in seeing is between now and 2025, are we going to break down lower because of the heavy increase in dilution? Because we know we're going to get dilution. They did not increase the authorized shares for funsies. We know that for sure. But it's interesting to look at the dilution relative to the chart. So since they've been diluting, okay, yes, they've been diluting 2 billion every year since 2020, and since 2021 they've been absolutely dumping. But is 001, not 001, is 002 the bottom? That is the. I think it's the bottom. I don't think we're just gonna go lower than this, regardless of the dilution. I mean, they've been diluting. They plan on diluting more. He's told you to your face he's gonna continue to dilute. We have our runs, be it 300%, 50%, whatever. It's still money. So I think when it comes to the dilution question, I think it's irrelevant at the point we're at. Now, if they were diluting and we were up here at 1 penny, 3 cents, 4 cents, 20 cents, then yeah, you probably don't want to touch it because it's just gonna we well, in hindsight it's easy to say yeah, all that dilution really screwed us, but also it was probably way overvalued on top of that. Yeah, among a bunch of other factors, of course. Considering 2021 was a pretty crazy year, and 2020 as well, of course, with COVID and everything that was going on at that time. But down here, I, we have not we have not broken down below 002 since mid November of 2023. And I believe they have diluted since then. Let's look at mid November 2023, August, September, October. Where's November? There's November. So yeah, they since mid November of 2023, they have diluted from 7.715 billion to 9.5 billion. So they diluted almost 2 billion. They've diluted 2 billion since we bottomed out down here at 002. And what has the share price done since then, guys? Look, you don't have to be a genius because I'm not a genius. I don't even know basic algebra. I don't. Like, what is X and Z? I don't even care. We don't even need any of that. I just need to know English and know how to communicate, the charts and what I see. So I think we're bottomed out down here, regardless of the dilution. Anyone who tells you, oh no, the dilution, any bear who tells you the dilution, you can just tell him, hey, guess what, buddy? We've bottomed out. We've bottomed out since November 2023. They've diluted 2 billion. And guess what? We've had one, two, three runs since then. And the dilution hasn't really hurt us. Dilution only hurts, if you ask me, it only hurts if it sends the share price tanking. That is it for the video. Hopefully you guys took something away from this. Feel free to share this. I think this is a very valuable information if you really think about it. Like I actually, this was supposed to be a video about the Three Kings and it turned into AITX video. So this is just going to be an AITX video. I'll probably look into Aitx now because this is very interesting information. Like wow, guys, just wait. It'll come back down. I don't think we're gonna have a huge 25-cent run. Let's not get insane. Let's be patient. We know what we have to do to make money with ATX. I'll see you guys in the next one.